football, the thing that came to mind when you were talking about guys buying in, because this is the tough, well, from here to the season is difficult in terms of practicing football. So for anyone that's in the chat, some of you played athletics at various levels. Some of you never did. No knock on anyone based on when you had to stop playing or chose to stop playing. For myself, that takes us through high school. And then I wasn't good enough to take it past there. And I was decent, not great, okay, capable, etc. Pick your sport, basically football and baseball. There's something different about football, though, because as a competitive guy, and I know you played at a high level in high school football or basketball and baseball, that there's just something different about a football mentality when you put pads on. Like baseball's a fun sport. Basketball's a fun sport. Sure, you got to run until you're basically sick to be prepared to run up and down a basketball court. So I'm not saying everything's fun all the time,
right?
But it's generally the practice is more similar to what you experience in the game in basketball and baseball. And everybody gets their time at bat. Everybody, even if you're a post player who's just a grinder and a rebounder, you still touch the ball.
Right.
Football, you have to love football because unless you're a quarterback, wide receiver, running, you're hitting people. And that's what you do. You don't touch a football. You are hitting people. And you got to love that.
It's and I mean, now it's not even hitting people. It's just, moving big weights and, doing dynamic movement drills and things like that. But like all the wide receivers, they're not breaking it down and coming out of a break and then expecting the ball to be halfway to them, and then, catch the pass and everything. Like all this is done without, the football, which is the part of it. And it's really interesting because, that's obviously where like physical development comes from and like other movement skill development comes from, is the time spent doing these kind of things. But I mean, look, I remember we lost a game to Hamtramck and we turned the ball over a lot in that game against Hamtramck to open our conference season when I was in high school. And it was an unseasonably warm day up in Michigan. And, we're getting dressed in the locker room and figure, hey, we're going to leave this behind us and we're going to move forward. And went to the gym and had a note to go out to the football field, which Cranbrook's football field is. It was voted as the most beautiful in America when I was in college. And it has it's in the campus and it has like these etched stone, steps and seating areas and everything. It's really, really nice. Lined by trees. The academic building is on one side. The Performing Arts Center, where your boy starred throughout high school, because you already know, is on the other side and everything. But that's also where the track is. And long story short, or short story long, we ran that entire day. We didn't touch any basketballs. We didn't go to the gym. Coach was mad that we turned the ball over, whatever the number of times was the day before, and we ran. And that's it. And then we did develop that cardiovascular endurance. But it was a little bit different. But, you have to love whatever it is that you do because you're going to, in an athletic sense, you're going to grind that body, into a different kind of a thing because, they say people are couch potatoes because you get, rotund as you sit. But in any level of athletics, you got to work. You got to work and you got to work. And it's funny hearing from all the players as they're speaking about this fourth quarter program and things, obviously took a step forward when Mark Richt came in and did the mat drills as opposed to what Al Golden was doing for off-season development, which was a step, right? So, okay, cool. We're taking a step in the right direction. Every player to a man is like, yo, this is different. This is another level. And you talk about Mark Cristobal's interviewing techniques and methodology, how very meticulous he is in that, while we still don't have technically a named linebackers coach Charlie Strong, linebackers coach. We haven't even talked about that. But there's two spots open. So there's a defensive ends coach because they might want to split it between tackles and ends with Joe Salavea and somebody else who would specialize in guys getting up the field. And then technically, we have not gotten an announcement about the tight ends coach. Again, I'm really thinking it's going to be Stephen Field. I'm really thinking that because Mario hired him already. And if for nothing else, you went toe to toe with Saban and them, and you got Jaleel Skinner at the early signing period this past year. If that's not a "you're good in this city" pass, and Field played here, he's coached here, he's coached in different places. I mean, he was the head coach of Miami Northwestern, for a year. They did him a little dirty there, but hey, whatever. But yeah, I think it's going to be Stephen Field at tight ends to retain his job moving forward. Again, and he was hired at Oregon by Cristobal before we got him up out of Oregon to bring him back to the crib. So there's that. But yeah, everybody's saying that this is different. And it's another step forward intentionally. So we had the Al Golden, Randy Shannon era, of whatever offseason stuff. You get a step forward, big step forward with the mat drills, bringing in that SEC mentality with Mark Richt. Now you're going to elevate that again to the Alabama championship level mentality with this fourth quarter program, they're calling it right now. And, hopefully we're going to see that be borne out on the field in the fall. And, even guys talking about, they didn't want, or they weren't at their physical peak last year, which is insane because they're trafficking in their bodies, like in athletics. But Jared Harrison Hunt said, like when he came in, he was, 3-star recruit, former basketball player, Christ the King in New York. He played with Stephen Blissett, who was up there as well. Oh, sorry, Adam Algamo, offensive lineman, was his high school teammate. And, he came in at like 6'4", 295. All right. But then he said last year, he only played at 270, playing D tackle. That's not good enough. Like, that's not big enough, and then we're wondering, like, why is J-A-H-H, Harrison Hunt, J-double-H, why is he playing? Why does it seem like he's regressing, right? And he's getting walked all over the field. Well, if you're playing 270 inside of the 3 technique, that's not going to be big enough at this level. But now he's talking about, he's really focusing, because you should have individually focused programs, but they're focusing on getting him stronger and bulkier as well, so that he's able to withstand the kind of grinding that's going to be ongoing for him during the course of the season. He says he's already up to 290. I want to see him around 300, 310 personally. But, when you have that, and that's, the strength and conditioning, going with the fourth quarter program, going with just the mentality and things like that, hopefully this is moving towards the way that you want it to be.